Hey everybody, Michael Harris here. Merry Christmas. And I've been thinking about doing this video for a while. I don't know how many of you guys know that I am a huge fan of Christmas, and every year I watch, probably three or four, maybe even five versions of the Christmas Carol. I think that Charles Dickens is possibly one of the best hypnotists on the planet. This movie is so impactful, and there's so many different versions that you can see. There's, my favorites, Alistair Sim and George C. Scott, Patrick Stewart, even Henry Winkler did a version of it, and I've recently added The Ghost of My Girlfriend's Past by Matthew McConaughey as, something fun to watch in terms of this story. And what makes this story so interesting, at least to me, is obviously it's a hero's journey. Uh, Ebenezer Scrooge, fairly miserable human, is kind of locked in his little world where he makes money. It's what he does, and he doesn't really care about what's going on. And I thought I'd kind of like look at this from three different versions. One of them is the hero's journey. The other one is Keegan's model of human development. And then the third one is more in terms of how this is a therapeutic metaphor and how it follows along the hypnotic loop. And I hope that this is interesting to you. The story itself is fairly straightforward in terms of Scrooge meets his buddy Marley, who died 7 years ago, and warns him that he's going to have to change his evil ways. And, of course, that doesn't do anything until the first ghost. And then he gets to go through his past and gets to see all of the fun stuff that got him kind of where he is today. And then he gets to meet the next ghost, who takes him through all of the stuff that is happening in his present, but he's pretty insulated, so he doesn't really know what's going on. And then the third ghost gets to show him what the ultimate consequences or threshold is going to be if he doesn't change his behavior. So from a hero's journey standpoint, he goes through the separation and into his initiation, where he has the various trials of just pretty much being scared halfway to death. But each time that he wakes up, he's still reverting back to his old behaviors until he gets to the third example. And frequently, humans, we need three examples. We need somewhere between 2 and 5 examples of really embodying an experience. And this movie is a real opportunity to embody the experience of sheer terror. Right? And, it's not always a great idea to make decisions, based in fear, but the way that this movie was organized, it was so that this person would change from his stuck position and into a higher position. Now, I'm not sure you've heard of Robert Keegan, who is a Harvard psychologist who created a model of adult human development. There's a great book written by Philip M. Lewis called The Discerning Heart, which is a shorter version. It's like 142 pages. Great read, not too complex. But from this model of Ebenezer Scrooge, he's pretty much locked into his level 2 sovereign self, and he doesn't really have the ability to hold more than one concept, or he can hold 2 concepts, but he can only hold them one at a time. And since his value is about not so much about being wealthy, it's about not being poor and making sure that he's insulated and protected. And this movie takes him through the process of moving from level 2 into a more socialized level 3 standpoint. And considering when this thing was written, that's a pretty big quantum leap for somebody to make in one night. Frequently we toggle back and forth, you know, for years, but apparently he never made the jump. And it's a really interesting metaphor of moving from a sovereign of I don't really care about you because I'm going to do what I want to do type mentality into a socialized mindset where you begin manufacturing your self-identity based on not only what you think but what others think as well. It's an interesting story. And then from the therapeutic metaphor standpoint, I really can't think of a better way for somebody to get a change. If you can and you can try this yourself, is that you give yourself an opportunity to review what's happened in the past. And the way that they did this in the story is that they did 3 different examples in each context. So when he was in his past, he got to see when he was a very young child and he felt really neglected and there was a wound there. And then he moved into adolescence, in which he was still pretty much alone, but he did have the experience of feeling love from his sister. And unfortunately she died, and that caused a similar type manifestation. His father blamed him for his mother's death, and my guess is that he blamed his nephew, although it wasn't stated in the book, for his sister's death. And he just kind of got real shut down and turned off, and that happens. So when we move into the next phase, the second phase of his initiation of present day, he's taken around and he really gets to see opportunities for love and opportunities for togetherness. And even though some of these people are struggling, they are still together. And that's something that he doesn't really have. And towards the tail end of the second ghost, where the ghost is going to leave him in some faraway place and it's cold and it's dark and he doesn't know where he is, you know, he is really, really fearful, and he's just about a threshold, and that's when the third ghost comes in, and that pretty much drives the nail into, you know, the proverbial coffin, because now he feels trapped and now he must make a decision. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they have to get to that point. You may have heard of people, let's say that they have some type of substance or alcohol abuse or something, and you've heard them say, you know, they're not going to change until they hit bottom. And that's kind of where this story takes Ebenezer Scrooge, is it takes him absolutely to the bottom, and he has to make a decision of whether he's going to survive, if he's going to carry on, or is he going to die, and he's going to die alone. And my guess is that he probably has a rule that dying alone and being completely forgotten is a bad thing. Anyway, I hope that you find this video interesting. I love this movie. I highly recommend that you see this movie. George C. Scott version is my personal favorite, but if you want something a little bit lighter, try the Bill Murray Scrooge. Disney has a version of it as well, or of course that Matthew McConaughey Ghost of My Girlfriend's Past was pretty fun. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you on the other side in 2022. Talk to you later.